Good morning. How's it going? Good. Pretty good. I'd say it's a beautiful coast day, but I'm not so sure. Is everyone ready? Yep. Very good. Well, today we're announcing that the Palaszczuk government will invest a further $26.8 million over the next 4 years to continue to deliver on our vision, the master plan for the Spit. We know that the Spit is one of Queensland's best public spaces, much loved by locals and visitors alike, and preserving and improving the Spit, making it a even better place for people to enjoy, is a key part of our plan to maintain the Gold Coast's world-class lifestyle. Projects that will be funded out of this $26.8 million include the next round of upgrades for Muriel Henchman Park, construction of upgrades to the boat ramps, car and trailer parking and the public amenities. We'll also be able to use some of that funding to roll out the first stage of new wayfinding and interpretive signage to help people to find their way around and enjoy the public spaces. It also includes funding for planning for the next stage of future upgrades, including revitalising Doug Jennings Park. Those projects are due to commence in 2023. Our government is very proud of the work we have done to preserve and protect and improve the Spit since 2017. Many projects already delivered and one almost completed. You can see behind me the new pontoon and jetty in Marine Stadium. The workers here have done a fantastic job and are hoping to have it open in time for Christmas in a week or so. That'll provide a fantastic facility for recreation and commercial vessels alike, and as I say, expected to be open very soon.
Thank you. Look, I think from a Gold Coast perspective, I think we're really appreciative of the continued funding. I think the Spit Master Plan vision process engaged with a huge number of stakeholders to really set the tone for the coming years, and we really appreciate this funding in order to deliver on that vision that was developed a number of years ago. This is just one project behind us that you can see. We've actually completed a number of projects already with the Moondawarra Spit and the Promenade, and these are fantastic projects. We actually were lucky enough to be the recipients of the Australian Institute of Landscape Architects Australia-wide award for Best Park and Public Domain. And so we're really proud of what we're delivering here, not only for the Gold Coast, but for southeast Queensland. Some of the elements that we're going to take out of that award are really letting the natural environment here be the hero. Infrastructure needs to be light touch, and we also are engaging continually with the community to make sure that we're designing public spaces that really respond to their needs and maximise the benefit for the community.
So we'll have to look up when it came through the release this morning for Connor Hurley Beach. Like, where's that? Everyone kind of knows this as Bums Bay. How much of a challenge is it going forward when this revitalisation is complete, kind of keeping those recreational vessels out here, kind of just camping definitely?
Look, I think it's important to look where we come from as well. I think in the Spit a number of years ago there was there was illegal camping, and there was a lot of activity on the spit that probably was less than favourable. And so we've really moved on the land side to create a great space for all of the Gold Coast and the visitors to the Gold Coast as well. I think we're in the early stages of doing something similar with Marine Stadium here. There's existing users of that space, but I think there's an opportunity to really broaden the number of users and the types of users to this space. At the moment, they're just existing vessel owners. We really want to try and extend that to mums and dads and families, to small boat users, to people potentially for swimming as well, and other uses as well. And we'll be coming back in early in 2023 with a suggested vision for that location.
Yeah, sure.
Is Doug Jennings Park, who's that managed by? Is that a council asset? The Doug Jennings Park?
That's managed by Gold Coast Waterways Authority.
Okay, well maybe this is a better question.
Maybe. Yeah, sure.
So we've had music festivals and stuff here over the weekend, but it's been reported that a lot of residents around the main beach area, people who use the spit frequently, are a little bit upset with illegal parties that are going on the beach and along the walkways. How much of an issue is that for you? Trying to manage, there's obviously some vulnerable vegetation in there. People who don't want to do the right thing and pay the fee to have a party, but are doing it for free illegally.
Look, I think it's not uncommon for spaces to be used by the public in all sorts of ways, and look, in that case, the City of Gold Coast, that's an area that they particularly manage, and we really hope that they can help regulate that. I mean, it's a space for all kinds of people. I think our task going forward is really to get the balance right. This is a space for all of the community, and so with that we need a range of, or we're allowing a range of large events combined with community events, combined with couples wanting to get married, or mums and dads coming down here and buying fish and chips at the kiosk, and just sitting out here and enjoying the water as well. So it needs to be a space for all, and I think we'll work to ensure that we get that balance right over the future.
So I should have been a little bit more specific as well. These aren't just kind of like people having a bit of fun. It's like organised parties where they're selling drinks and they're charging money and things like that. That's not on, is it, if you're doing that without the proper permits?
Look, from my understanding, from what we've been informed, that's a very, very small element, and that's being investigated at the moment, and I think that's something that we need to really keep on top of going forward. So it's an issue that we're aware of and we're managing.
And where does that fit in with the master plan? I mean, obviously that's not something you really want to sort of have the area known for, moving forward.
No, absolutely, and I think we've had some great success with managing the right types of behaviour and creating a great place here already, and so from time to time we are going to get elements like this coming in, and we then need to manage that and regulate that and make sure that we're ensuring that we keep this place available to the public, and that people, primarily they feel safe and they feel welcomed in a place like this. We've invested a lot of money in creating a great space, and we want the community to enjoy that.
What do you think about that? It's such a great public asset that so many people on the Gold Coast and even from outside of the Gold Coast love to come and use. But it's not really fair when people are making money off it and holding parties in a way where they don't have to really clean up after themselves and things like that.
Well, we do want people to enjoy the spit. That's why we're investing so much money here. But I'd say to people organising events like that, do it properly, get a permit. We do want events here, but if they book and get a proper permit, then we can make sure that everyone's kept safe.
Just got a couple non-spit related questions.
Sure.
2 teenagers have been charged over a violent chemist robbery in Annastacia. That was earlier this week. Possibly, certainly it's gang related. Just wondering, in terms of more violent crime is being committed by young people, I guess, is the situation continuing to get worse on the Gold Coast, particularly in the southeast?
our police do a fantastic job each and every day keeping our community safe, and we support them by introducing laws and providing them with the funding that they say they need to manage crime. Of course, we never want to see anything like that occur in our community, and our police do a very, very good job of making sure that in the first instance it doesn't happen, and where it does, they use the full extent of the law.
And I guess anecdotally on the surface it seems like things are getting worse, particularly when it comes to incidents like this and youth crime in general. Is enough being done? Does more need to be done? I mean, it must be quite a frustrating approach to throw resources and realise that this stuff's still happening.
We've continued to invest heavily into our policing response to crime. We have more police on the beat now than ever before, and we continue to support them with the laws that they say they need to manage crime.
In terms of, I guess, when it comes to youth crime, we're seeing a lot more violent acts within that youth crime. It's sort of escalating in that sense in terms of violence. Is that a concern as well?
Of course it is, and we don't ever want to see anyone in the Queensland community suffering from crime, and in particular violent crime, and that's why we have all of our efforts focused on supporting our police response, making sure that the courts are dealing with these young criminals. We have seen an increase in the number of young people in detention as a result of the tougher laws that we have brought in. So we'll continue to do, based on the advice of police, what they tell us they need in order to respond to crime.
Just in a couple on infrastructure as well, particularly in the Toowoomba area. The IPA reports found Queensland ranks second worst in the country in terms of infrastructure. I guess what was your reaction to that? What's being done to change that fact, particularly in the Darling Downs region?
So we don't agree with the analysis in that particular report. What's different about Queensland is the Queensland government and taxpayers through the Queensland government own many of our government-owned corporations and statutory authorities that in other states they have sold off. As a result of that, much of our state investment is via those government-owned corporations. Now, for whatever reason, they have not been included in that ranking table, have not been included in those calculations, and so the report is fundamentally flawed in that way. I can say to Toowoomba, the Toowoomba economy is booming, and we continue to work with the Toowoomba community, with the local council and with Toowoomba businesses to deliver the infrastructure, the housing and the other projects that Toowoomba needs. Just last week I approved a temporary local planning instrument at the request of Toowoomba Regional Council to make sure that they could deliver more homes for Toowoomba locals. The fact is unemployment there is so low that businesses can't attract workers, and even if they could, those workers can't find homes because the vacancy rate is so low. So we'll continue to do what is right by the Toowoomba community. We have nearly $60 billion of infrastructure rolling out across the state over the next 4 years. That's a record level of infrastructure spending, and we'll continue to invest there.
How far off is that report then, from your perspective? I mean, if you're able to put it in monetary terms, that'd be great.
Well, as I say, our infrastructure spend over the next 4 years is nearly $60 billion. Our infrastructure guarantee is that we will spend over every 4-year period more than $50 billion. So that's our guarantee, and we are spending well above that, committed to nearly $60 billion of infrastructure spending.
The report states the absence of a clear funding profile for Brisbane 2032 is a key issue. And obviously the opposition saying that it could be that the federal government doesn't commit to the 50-50 funding and could pull projects. Is the future of the Olympics in doubt? Is that a correct statement to make?
We're finalising our agreement with the Commonwealth for the delivery of that 50-50 funding arrangement is the next big job on delivering the Olympics and Paralympics by 2032. Obviously the change of government has delayed those negotiations. The new government has needed time to find their feet, to get all of their key positions in place, and so we'll continue to talk with them about that. We do need to see that agreement. We do need to see that funding commitment. the Morrison government's commitments to the IOC to jointly fund the Olympic and Paralympic Games were a key element of how we secured the bid. But the assurance I can give people, and I've seen some various remarks during the week about progress on the Games, the assurance I can give people is that while we negotiate that agreement and secure that agreement, we are continuing to work to deliver the actual projects. We might not be able to outline publicly in detail much of that work, but behind the scenes there's very significant work underway. We have project validation reports into the Gabba upgrade, the Gabba renovation, as well as the new Brisbane Live, and those project validation reports will then continue through the other venues and villages. Just next week, commencing on Tuesday, we'll have surveyors at Raymond Park identifying the exact location for the warm-up track. The IOC requires warm-up athletics facilities to be at or very near to the athletic stadium. Raymond Park is very near the Gabba, and so we'll have surveyors on Raymond Park identifying exactly where the track will be. So all of that detailed planning work continues in parallel to our negotiations with the Albanese government to secure that 50-50 funding commitment.
And I guess one could assume, considering it is a Labor government at a federal level, that things might work a little bit smoothly. If one could assume that. When are you expecting, this to move forward? Then, I mean, considering it's both tiers of government are both Labor now.
If it weren't for that change of government, we had hoped to have that intergovernmental agreement with the Australian government completed by now. We'd certainly like to see it in place early in the new year. I know that our National Cabinet is meeting this week. There's a chance there that the Premier and Prime Minister might be able to talk about it. I'm certainly in touch with Catherine King, my federal counterpart. We'll continue to work through the details of that funding arrangement, but it is absolutely critical and the next stage that we need to ensure that we can deliver what we want to deliver, and that's the best Olympics and Paralympics ever here in the Southeast in 10 years' time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Go for a walk.